What's up, dude? We're here. We're here in the flesh. What's good? We're live. We're fucking live right now. We're live. Here we are, boy, do we? Alrighty. Grand rising, everybody. We're up in here, bro. Today we've got the loveliest of little things happening today. As you may know, last night, Mind Unveiled, he did drop Bible Unveiled last night, and it was just a little bit too late for me, so I wasn't really able to watch it. So that's what we're doing today. Is there some occult symbolism inside of the Bible? Grand rising, Melissa. I'm so glad that you're here already. What's up? It is early because we probably got ourselves, to be honest, another little fucking 4-hour stream today. We got ourselves a doozy today, dude. Did you watch some of the Bible Unveiled, Melissa? Did you watch? Dang, that's crazy, huh? You got woken up so you could come hang out. What's up, dude? Where's everybody at? How's it going? We got people trickling up on here on Facebook. Let's go. What's up? How are y'all doing today? It's a lovely Wednesday. It's a wacky Wednesday, bro. It's that wacky ass Wednesday. If you're here, just say hello. You could say Grand Rising. You could just comment alien emojis. You could say Team Human in the chat. But most importantly, we could start the day off right. It's bright and early. Got that Tripoverdrip merch on, bro. Anna Ray, how's it going? Let's just start today's stream off the way that it's supposed to, and each and every one of us just start resonating in the frequency of gratitude. I'll say what I'm grateful for. If you could just be so kind to yourself and really to the stream, just comment something that you're grateful for, bro. Dorcia, what's up? He does spend a lot of time in Genesis. We're going to get into that. This Cain and Abel story he's telling, bro, is insane, Melissa. It's insane. It's a lot to digest. And so I'm so happy that we are going to be able to dive right up in it. How's it going, everybody? What's good? What's goody? Facebook, what's up? How are you guys? What's going down? We're just big chilling over here. Big chilling. I'm grateful for today as well. I'm grateful for all of you. Because without all of you, realistically, none of this shit would even be working, bro. Let me just comment in my little chat that I'm live. I'm live right now. Let me get the kick link real fast. What's up, Angel Blue? Angel Blue's in the house. Yeah, the skins part sounds insane, doesn't it? It sounds absolutely insane, bro. Absolutely insano in the braino. Insano in the braino. Insano in the brain. Insano in the braino. Cain and Abel, yeah. What's up, TBA? I'm grateful for the fact that I can learn as well, actually. It just helps, you know? It just freaking helps. Scruffmeister, what's up? She's in the house. Hell yeah, let's go. Let's go. We got some stuff to get into, so I'm just letting everybody just trickle up on in here real quick. We've got Scruffmeister, TBA, we've got Dorcia in the house. I don't know if we have anybody on YouTube. Oh, we got one on YouTube. I see you, YouTube. What's up? I see you, YouTube. What's up? Let me disconnect this. Disconnect it. Cancel. No, cancel. Disconnect. Okay. Should be off. Okay, it's off now. Let me come up over to YouTube real quick. Hey, what's up? We're just letting everybody just trickle on up in here before everything starts to get crazy. Crazy, crazy, crazy. They are. I bet everybody is still sleeping. We've got 10 people up on Facebook, though. 10 people up on Facebook, but 10 people on Facebook ain't said what's up. 2 people on YouTube, but 2 people on YouTube hasn't said what's up yet. What's up, motherfuckers? Let me just take a little blinker while. Oh, John the Arbiter. What's up? John the Arbiter's in the house. Oh, real quick, just for everybody who's here, you guys on Facebook specifically, if I'm being 100% honest with you, bro, you're going to want to watch this on YouTube, bro. So just give me 1 second. My phone's acting a little silly, a little sus. Let me just drop the YouTube link right up in the chat, bro. Let's see if it will drop. Did it drop? It should have dropped. YouTube, what's good? 3 people up on the YouTube. We've got 10 people up over on Facebook. What's up? I just pinned the YouTube link into the chat, bro. You're going to have a much better time watching today's stream on YouTube. I'm telling you, bro. I'm telling you. Let me just real quick drop a quick Instagram story just to promote the live stream today. You know what I'm saying? Oh, she boy. Sorry guys. Thank y'all for being here. Who's here? Shout out from the Philippines. Hell yeah. Christy's in the house. What's up? We've got Christy, TBA, Aaron's up in here. We've got John the Arbiter, Melissa Clark's up in here. We got Scruffmeister. We've got Doro Tom. What's up? We've got, I don't know how to say that name. I'm trying to figure it out, bro. I'm going to call you Dorto Maiga Sayak. I think that's how you call it. Memphis, Melissa Lewis, how's it going? What's up? If you guys are here, could y'all just please smash the like button on the video? Please hit the like button in the live chat. Please just comment something you're grateful for, and we're about to get right up in here, bro. Are you guys ready for today's stream? Is the Bible occult? What's up, Riza? Okay, so check this out, bro. I have no idea where we are going to end up on any of my live streams. We start with what we always start with. The opening message is just like my way of trying to give some positive vibrations out into the world so that no matter how long you are here up on my stream, at least if you make it through that section, the beginning section of my stream, at least you have something that your soul can take with you when you close out of the app. Because here we go down the craziest rabbit holes, up, downs, all arounds. God, Lucifer, magic, Merlin, Khazaria, the Canaanites, the Phoenicians, Tartaria, or how about Lumeria, or maybe Atlantis, or maybe we go into Hermes Trismegistus or Pythagoras, or we even talk about Thoth the Atlantean. Or we get into Jeffrey Epstein, or we get into the fucking satanic cabal of pedophiles that it's obvious that live at the top, that control everything, that are consuming and sacrificing our children to a god named Baal, allegedly. Is that a little bit too far off based? Or is everybody here for that? I'm grateful for sobriety as well. I almost have 8 years clean coming this November. The last time I used drugs was November 5th, 2018, when I went to prison. Actually, when I got arrested and went to prison. I used to intravenously use meth heroin, and now I have 7. Let's see, how many days? I'll pull it up right here. I know it's 7 years. 2,815 days. We do recover. Melissa Lewis, what's up? Amanda Sorrento, what's up? Roxy, how's it going? I see you in here. I love all of you. Like I will say right now, I stream Monday through Friday, every single day. I do whatever I can to try and help change the trajectory of humanity on planet Earth by getting up here and just being my authentic self, telling my story, saying that I'm a sexual abuse victim, telling people that I have borderline personality disorder. I was diagnosed with ADHD and given Ritalin at a very young age. I would also classify myself as autistic, as hyper neurodivergent. I have 4 kids. I have a beautiful wife. And I'm a hermit, bro. And I just get on the internet and talk about things that I think are important. And mostly the thing that I actually, out of everything, if I'm being 100% honest with you, that is important is you, bro. I mean, I'm important to me, but I hope that you're important to you. Because at the end of the day, there's no one that's coming to save you, bro. Only you can do it. This entire time, your whole life, however long you've been on earth, this time you chose to incarnate here, as well as all of the other times, it's always been you versus you. It's not you versus me. It's not you versus us. It's not you versus the world. It always and has always been just you versus you. So with that, Paulina Ray, what's up? Queen Trip is up in the house. You guys ready for today's mindful message before we get into this occult Bible study? This occult Bible study? Huh? You guys ready for this? If you're new here, I'm just letting y'all know I'm fucking weird, bro. I'm my 100% authentic self. Like I said, I have like audio and verbal stims I do, you know, like, oh yeah, like that, stuff like that, you know what I mean? It's just weird stuff, bro. So if you're not down with the weird, you're probably already gone. If you are down with the weird, what's up, motherfucker? Shitty. All right, you guys ready for today's mindful message? Thank y'all for being here. Thanks for clicking on the video. Let's get right fucking up into this. Cheers. But what if the biggest limit on your life isn't your potential? It's how tightly you're holding on to the way that you already think. If that hits something even in the opening line, you can just comment the words, I'm opening up. So you can mark the moment that you've decided that you're done living with a closed, narrow frame on a limitless reality. Because having a closed mind doesn't just block new ideas. It quietly restricts your entire life. It shrinks your world down to what you've already seen, already heard, already decided, and it calls that tiny circle truth. It makes you defend your assumptions like they're your identity instead of treating them like starting points you're allowed to grow beyond. An open mind is different, bro. An open mind says, I'm willing to look. I'm willing to listen. I'm willing to let my consciousness stretch beyond what feels familiar if it helps me see the fuller picture. Being open-minded isn't about believing everything, dude. It's just about considering more so you can discern better. It's about meeting new information like new perspectives, new symbols with curiosity instead of automatically coming to defense or attacking them. It's about saying, let me look at this from one more angle before I decide what's actually real for me. Because here's the truth. When you only think inside the lines that you were given, your consciousness never gets a chance to grow to its full capacity. I mean, it's simple, right? You just repeat the same beliefs, the same conclusions, the same reactions, and then you wonder why your life feels like it's on a loop. Closed thinking will say, oh, I already know all that. Open thinkers might say, there's got to be way more to this. Because closed thinking or being closed-minded, all it does is protect your comfort. Open-minded thinking simply just protects your growth. And growth will always ask you to move past what feels safe for your ideas. If you want a life that expands your consciousness and if you want a life that expands, your consciousness has to expand first. You have to be willing to let your mind encounter things that challenge it, stretch it, humble it, and show you where you were only seeing one piece of a much bigger pattern. This is not about abandoning your values. It's about deepening your understanding. It's about taking what you believe and holding it up to the light, looking at it from a different angle and from different sides, allowing for more insight, more wisdom, and more nuance to start flowing in. And when you stay open, bro, like when you actually have a real open mind, you're simply giving yourself permission for so much. You're giving yourself permission to actually be able to say, I don't know everything. You're giving yourself permission to be able to say, I might have been wrong before. You're giving yourself permission to say, even though I don't know everything and I have been wrong, I'm willing to learn something new today. That type of humility is not weakness, bro. That's true strength. That's how true wisdom begins. And if you're still here and you're ready to get into this occult Bible study, you can just say, I'm ready to expand my mind. So you can mark the time that you made the decision to grow past your old limits, your beliefs, or your identity. Because narrow thinking doesn't just affect your ideas, it actually affects your relationships, your opportunities, and even your own peace. When your mind is locked, your heart will follow. You stop trying new things. You stop listening deeply. You stop letting people surprise you. You start flirting with everything through. You start filtering everything through a filter that says, does this match what I already think? Instead of, what can this teach me? An open mind, on the other hand, will automatically unlock new paths. You will become more creative. You will become more flexible, more able to adapt when your life starts to shift. You start seeing connections where you used to see separation. You start hearing meaning in places that you used to tune out. You start recognizing that reality has so many motherfucking layers, bro. So many layers. Psychological, spiritual, symbolic, esoteric. And that staying curious, it lets you access more of those layers. So here's the key, bro. Just because you're open-minded, that doesn't mean that you're gullible. It means that you have disciplined curiosity. You don't accept everything, but you do examine everything. You test what you hear against your inner wisdom, your inner experience, and whatever truths or source or God or life path that you live by. You start practicing to listen first and then decide, not deciding first and then refusing to listen. That shift alone, listening first, can change your entire trajectory. Because when your consciousness expands, your options start to expand. New ways of seeing things lead to new ways of living. New interpretations lead to new behaviors. New understanding leads to new levels of peace, purpose, and power. So before we go any further today, because today is going to be insane, bro, I want you just to ask yourself, am I walking through life with a mind that is open for growth? Or am I walking around with a mind that is just simply tightly closed around what I already know? If you feel yourself getting defensive the moment something unfamiliar shows up, that's a sign, dude. It doesn't mean that you're bad. It means that that part of you simply is afraid to stretch. And the only way to move past that fear is to practice staying open long enough to actually understand what is actually in front of you. You don't have to agree with every idea. You don't have to absorb every single person's perspective. You just have to stop attacking what you haven't even fully heard yet. So remember, listen, learn, and then decide what you feel is true. Because your consciousness is capable of much more than just one narrow lane that we've all been handed. You're allowed to expand. You're allowed to explore crazy conspiracies, alternative history. You're allowed to explore all of that. And most importantly, you are allowed to let your mind become a place where wisdom, insight, and revelation actually have room to breathe. So let this be your pep talk for today as we get ready to get into some really crazy shit. Don't live small because your thinking is small. Don't live limited because your curiosity is limited. Don't live half awake because your mind is afraid to open up. Stretch. Question everything. Explore all the information we can. Let your consciousness grow to its full capacity. And the next time something new, challenging, or unfamiliar crosses your path, remember that you don't have to attack it. You can just simply say to yourself, let me keep an open mind and see what this has to show me. That simple decision repeated over time is how you stop living in a box and you start living in a much bigger, richer, more awake reality. I love you, Team Human. Let's get into this. You gotta have an open mind. You gotta have a hippie on your team like me. I do remember the other day when I was pretending to be a plant. I do know what you mean, bro. I do know what you mean, TBA. Peep the text that I just sent you. It's on X. Oh, I'll look at it in a second. Let me start this video real fast, baby girl. Who's here? If we got some people up in here, we got a whole squad on Kick. We got 8 people up over here on freaking on YouTube. What's up, YouTube? We got a couple good peeps up over here on Twitch. We got John the Arbiter. We got Monica. We got my beautiful wife. She's the one that's over here up on Twitch today. Let's go. We got Julia Brand, Janine McMillan. Amanda's in the house. Julia Brand is in the house. Let's go. Let's go. We got Cobra Kai. We got Koi Fish. We got Nicole in the house. Christy's in the house. Jacob's in the house. Risa's in the house. Okay, real quick before let me just get this little video up and rolling.
We'll touch on that another time.
Up and rolling. Real quick. Can everybody just drop poop or alien emojis in the chat? I need everyone who's here to do that just so I can get a head count of who's here if that's possible. I just barely opened my eyes too, bro, to be honest. I woke up, took my wife to work, came down here, boom, right into the stream. Well, I brushed my teeth and got dressed and stuff, changed my crusty, dusty undies. They're not crusty, dusty. I just said that. Cain and Abel right here, boy.
Agree.
Hell yeah, we got some peeps up in here. Christy, Wilson, Lee. Okay, we're honestly, Nina Guther, what's up? Like I said, if you guys are on Facebook right here, you can watch the video above. If you want to watch it on Facebook, that's all right. The link is pinned to the top of the chat. It should be to the YouTube. Yeah, we got that Tripoverdrip merch today. Okay, let's just get it done now. We're just going to do the little promo ad at the beginning. Sorry, guys, okay? Let me just get this little promo ad at the beginning. All right, guys. I am. The link I just dropped takes you to tripoverdrip.shop. There's only like two left of each. 2 designs left. I'm making custom tie-dyes. Only 5 of each design. 5 tie-dye bears, 5 tie-dye trip over drips. They will be signed by me and Queen Trip. These are going to be limited editions. That means the next time I do a little run of tie-dye shirts with our Trip Over Drip logos, we will not do this design and we will not ever do these color patterns again. So if you purchase one of these Trip Over Drip tie-dye shirts, just know that it will be like similar to like a limited edition. They will be signed and they will not be replicated. But we do have also other stuff. We just got this cool ass new little Trip Over Drip tumbler, bro. 20-ounce stainless steel coffee cup. It will come with like the cup comes with a straw, a brush to clean it, something to hold it in your cup holder. We got these cool ass little we got stickers, obviously. I think I might give away fuck it, man. I might just give away a whole pack of stickers if anybody purchases some tie-dye shirts while we're on the stream. 5-pack of stickers if you buy a shirt. If you buy one of the tie-dyes. Yeah, but we got these like this one I'm wearing right here. Look at this. See that? Got that Trip Over Drip crew neck. We got this divine feminine, divine masculine. We got a little, it's hot out there, bro. It's hot out here, bro. So we decided to get some tank tops. We decided to put out a matching short set. We got the crop top and the long tank top for the girls. We got just the men's black and gray. We got these tote bags. A couple of you guys already have these tote bags. They are made 100% of recycled jeans. All these designs have been made by my beautiful wife, Queen Trip. Shout out Queen Trip in the chat. But yeah, tripoverdrip.shop. I'm willing to bet. Oh, there's like 5 people on the site right now. I'm willing to bet. You better hurry and go get you one of these tie-dyes. $35. I'm in a different time zone. That's why they're saying this is all Canada money. But yeah, there's only a few left. So make sure you get them. They will be removed off of the site as soon as those limits have been hit. Now that we've done the plug, tripoverdrip.shop, let's get back over here, bro. We have no time to waste. It's already 9 o'clock. We've been live for 28 minutes. We're getting right into the Bible Unveiled, part 2. And yes, thank you for reminding me. If you purchase some shorts, the shorts do have pockets. Yeah, the real deal. I will look. I'm currently live streaming, so I'm going to go ahead and just continue my live stream, but I'll check out your video later. Jenny Walker, no. So yes, okay, this week's been kind of crazy or hectic, bro. Monday mornings, first thing in the morning. Monday mornings is first thing in the morning. Thursdays is in the evening. Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday is in the midday. Thank you for the subscription on Twitch. Thank you. Appreciate that. But because normally I only stream for like 2 to 3 hours a day, but this video itself is 2 hours. And last time I only streamed 2 hours of a Mind Unveiled video. It took me 6 hours, a 7-hour stream. So I'm just wanting to get the stream in full. I don't want to break this into 2 parts or 2 different streams. I want to watch it in full. Does that make sense? So in order to be able to watch it in full and still get all the stuff I have to get done today, I had to just jump on real early this morning. I love you. Thank you guys for being here. Let's get right up in here. Christy Wilson, I'm telling you, you got to get one of the Trip Over Drip merches, bro. Oh, Jennifer Walker, I don't know if you saw. The link is pinned right above your comment. I'll pin it right here, actually. Let me just pin it. Tripoverdrip.shop. Because someone just jumped in here. Custom tie-dyes. I got the white shirts right here. I'm going to grab all the dye today to knock them all out. There's only going to be 5 of this design made. There's already 3 that have been purchased. So there's only 2 bears left. And then I'm pretty sure there's 3 of these tie-dyes left for the Tripoverdrip. But yeah, tripoverdrip.shop. Let's get right into this.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Bible Unveiled. It really seems like you guys are excited for this series, and I'm very thankful for all the beautiful comments. Truly, it's greatly appreciated. It's inspiring, and I will continue to work hard so that we may unveil the Bible together. In the first episode, we set up the entire series and covered the first few chapters of Genesis. I'll do a recap, but there is something I have to say first, and I want to say it to the Christian viewers especially, sincerely. This part of the series is about to get dark. There's no way around it. We're going to be reading verses about blood and sacrifice, and some of them involve children.
Oh boy, we're just starting this off just so prime, right? Shit, boy. I'm just going to give all of you guys a warning that there is a warning at the beginning of the video, so I'll just let him give the warning.
So I want you to know going in that I'm going to do my best to present all of it with love. I'm not here to mock the Bible, and I'm not here to mock you. I study this book because I take it seriously. And please, remember, there are multiple readings of these stories. I didn't invent that. The oldest commentators of scripture read it that way, and this video will show you more than just one. So keep in mind that as we go through this heavy material, know that there's a deeper reading that's walking right beside it, and I will not leave you standing in the dark alone. But I do insist that if this is your first time here, please don't start with this episode. Go back and watch part 1 first. It's important. Everything is built on what was set up in part 1. The sources, the method, the whole way we read this book. And without that foundation, some of what I'm about to show you today will sound like an attack, but it's not an attack. Part 1 will show you the spirit this whole series is done in. So with that said, let me recap the first part of the series.
Okay. I'm not sure where Vox is at. Did you guys see that Astro Strange has come back around? I'm so glad Astro Strange is back, bro. Anyways. So before we even really get into this, I kind of want to ask everybody who is here, okay? I got to ask you guys. Because I don't know. At any time, there could be people in here that I've never had up in here on a live stream before. Let me see if it's sped up. It is sped up. I'm going to have to slow it down. Sorry about that. Marie Moon. Ooh, we're getting into some crazy shit today. I'm so happy you're here. Hell yeah. But let me tell you this, okay? Let me just say this. First and foremost, I will and always say this, that Yeshua from Nazareth is by far my most favorite person that I'm obsessed with. I think that the conspiracy around Yeshua is the largest rabbit hole that there is on planet Earth, because this information has been a conspiracy for supposedly 2,000 years. That's if you don't believe that there was 1,000 years of missing time where the Roman Empire actually just expanded their reign over it so that they could, I guess, what's the word? So they could create this falsehood of their empire and how strong their empire was. There's potentially like 1,000 years of missing time. Anyways, back to this stuff. I love Jesus Christ. I believe that out of all avatars that were spiritually incarnated here on this planet, that there was a specific group of people who created the Christ child and put the Christ energy inside of the Christ child to come here and wake up all of the humans. And he spoke in parables because it was illegal for him to speak openly. But when he was behind closed doors, he was speaking to his disciples, and he was actually saying the real things about how he wasn't here to be worshiped. He came here to teach all of us how to actually transcend and become gods. That's what I believe. I believe that for all of time, every religion has had their narrative shaped to fit the goal of being able to control the minds and physically control the slaves, the goyim, whatever you want to call them. 100. Okay. So because getting into this video, I'm not like, he's going to talk about this because he probably gets it way more than I've ever even experienced, to be honest with you. This isn't to make any Christian upset. Anything I'm about to say moving forward, anything we're about to watch, this isn't to attack anyone. This is to take, like I said in the opening message, this is to take a different angle from information that you might already think that you know. And for 1 second or 1 day, just decide that you are going to look at the information subjectively, look at the information in its entirety before you ever even come to a conclusion. Let's get some aliens in the chat, and we're going to get right back to this.
In part 1, we started with the river, the flow. And the river flowed into a very specific direction. 7. 7 days in a week, 7 colors in the rainbow, 7 vowels in Greek, 1 for each of the 7 planets. The word 7 appears over 700 times in the 1611 King James Bible. And the last book, Revelation, is 7 of 7 of 7, all the way down. Then the book itself starts talking. Unto you it is given to know the mysteries of the kingdom of God, but unto them that are without, all these things are done in parables. Mark chapter 4. So we know there are 2 readings, an inside one and an outside one, a key for the few and a tale for the crowd. And underneath the outside one are numbers. Ezra chapter 2 and Nehemiah chapter 7 both land on the exact same total, 42,360.
The 7s is crazy, huh? And when you start to read these spiritual texts, especially when we watched the last Bible Unveiled, when he was breaking down the Freemasonic symbolism inside of the cover page of the King James version of the Bible. And I made a video about it. That's the video that actually got me and Mind Unveiled connected. But with that being said, you have to take into consideration that maybe the information that we have been given regarding these spiritual texts from a period of our historic past, that there were some ulterior motives behind these texts to potentially protect secrets and to appease the masses. Because Jesus came here and he was telling everybody how to become just like him, right? And they don't want anybody to become like him. That's why they killed him, right? So you just have to take that with a grain of salt, if I'm being 100% honest with you. If we all know there is, yeah, even Jesus was anti-government and anti-religion, bro. If we're here having this conversation, and we're going to have this conversation, then you probably should take into consideration that we've been lied to, right? But there is some sort of divine energy. Dead ass. He came to save us. Absolutely. He came to tell us, you have been enslaved. Your mind has been trapped. Do you understand vibration, frequency, and energy? With the faith the size of a mustard seed, you can move a mountain. You know what I mean? He was waking up too many people, showing everybody what was possible, and so they killed him. Right. Let's get right into this. But anyways, Cobra Kai. Remember Randall Carlson? Maybe it was Graham Hancock. I think Graham Hancock, Randall Carlson, you're right. Jesus did not come here to be worshiped. He did not come here to create a religion. He did not come here to be an idol for someone you pray to. He came here to teach you how to become like him. That is it. This 42,360, I swear, bro. I swear that when Graham Hancock was talking to the Diary of a CEO, he had mentioned that the circumference or the outside area of the perimeter timed or squared or cubed or something equaled a number that was like 42,360 or something. I don't know. Maybe if this rings a bell for somebody can comment what I was thinking about in the chat. They are still unaliving people for speaking the truth. Christy, I will have you know, I live 10 minutes north of where Charlie Kirk was Charlie Kirked. I live in Utah. I've been to the Utah Valley University many different times throughout my life. They will just take you out. You know what I'm saying? We have to wake up the masses. They can't take out and neutralize all of us. The only reason they take out the ones that talk the truth is because the people who are talking the truth are trying to wake everyone up to the truth. If everybody was already awoken and already understood the truth, then there wouldn't be these solo heroes that are like paving the way of truth telling. You know what? Does that make sense? And a lot of these truth tellers that pave the way inevitably end up dead. Because the powers that be, the pedophiles that are eating our kids who run the planet, allegedly, they don't want people telling the truth. And you know why they don't want people telling the truth? And why there's an attack on the men and masculinity in general? They've hidden the divine feminine. Now they've started to attack the divine masculine. Because when there is a revolution, it's the men who are going to do the physical revolting. They don't want us to know the truth. They don't want us to wake up. They don't want us to unite. They don't want us to have community. They don't want us to have a whole bunch of stuff. The path we walk is, when you get in a position when, the things you're doing, are right, but that at the end of the day, there is like a possibility that something tragic could happen to you. There comes like a divine energy that kind of is just like a affirming from source. I can't even explain it. And I'm not even saying I'm even exposing or talking about I'm not even exposing anything. I'm just talking about crazy stuff that has been purposely hidden from us, stuff that they don't want us to know. If I was out there like Candace Owens and like actually exposing all that stuff, it would be way different for me. But I'm not really exposing anything. I'm really just talking about stuff that shouldn't be talked about. Like, do you think they want us to know that the Khazarians were kicked out of Russia? And then just go down the Khazarian mafia rabbit hole, bro. But let's get back into this.
A total neither list even adds up to. So someone had that number, and they wrote it down twice. Which means the Bible was not just written, it was constructed. And it is built on water. In the beginning, darkness was upon the face of the deep. The waters were already there before a single day of creation. We discussed the concept of a carrier term, water being one of them. A carrier term is a symbol that weaves through the entire book like a thread. And we learned that matter, materia, comes from mater, mother. The first matter is the first mother. Which brings us to her.
The first matter. Did you hear that? The first matter is mother or matter. Pay attention to that.
Wisdom. And she's in the Bible, crying out in Proverbs. She was there at the beginning, and then she starts disappearing. Written in between the lines, Lilith reduced to a screech owl.
Lilith, that's a really key phrase. Let's just make this connection. How come the Bohemian Grove and Freemasons are obsessed with owls? And right here inside of the Bible, he just said that Lilith was basically, let's run it back. What did he say? Lilith was something to an owl.
Written in between the lines, Lilith reduced to a screech owl.
Lilith reduced to a screeched owl. That just screams like Lilith became the owl, and that's why the owl is a symbol of these societies. Maybe I'm off base. I don't know. Maybe you agree. I don't know. It just seems weird. Lilith was the first female created. You're just gonna have to watch. Come on, let's go.
The suppression of the feminine is one of the main.
I have an owl in here, right here. I got a little owl. As soon as we fucking hit the streams where we did a deep dive into Bohemian Grove, I seen an owl like this right here at the freaking thrift store, and I had to buy one to put it up on stream. But yeah.
Operating secrets of the whole Bible. And throughout this entire series, you're gonna watch it happen again and again. Because the creation of man himself was told twice. Genesis 1, God creates man in his own image. Male and female created he them, both at once, one androgynous being. Then Genesis 2 tells it again, and this time, it is dust, in a deep sleep, the woman taken out of his side. 2 creations and 2 gardens. Read it slowly. The Lord God planted a garden eastward in Eden.
Listen to that. That is one of the craziest aspects of this story that I didn't really actually pay attention to until I started watching Mind Unveiled's breakdown of the beginning of the Bible. If you haven't, you should go on my you can either go watch the Bible Unveiled Part 1. I did a 4-hour stream of Part 1. It's interesting because I didn't take into consideration the fact that, just like he said, that the garden that was created for Adam and Eve was created in the east of the Eden was created in the east, right? Or the garden was created in the east of Eden, meaning that there's more. The garden was only a piece of this large plot of land where this God resided, right?
Slowly, the Lord God planted a garden eastward in Eden.
The Lord God planted a garden eastward in Eden, meaning Eden was already there. He planted a garden in the east side of Eden. What is in the rest of Eden?
Eden already existed. Keep that in mind. We concluded part 1 with the garden being a temple, an initiation chamber with a serpent inside, the Nakash, the Shining One. And the Shining One told the truth. Your eyes shall be opened, and ye shall be as gods. God confirms it himself. Chapter 3, verse 22. Behold, the man is become as one of us. Now read why they were thrown out. Lest he put forth his hand, and take also of the tree of life, and eat, and live forever. That word lest, they were never immortal in that garden. And that is exactly why a guard got posted. Cherubim and a flaming sword turning every way. Eden wasn't just closed, it was locked, and the key was handed to a priesthood. Now there was only so much I could cover in a 2-hour video. There is more to the garden. But in order to cover that, we must continue to keep building. We will come back to the garden very soon. But for now, we're going to continue with the pre-flood era. Remember, we even discussed a man in part 1 named Lamech, who lived 777 years. And a few verses earlier, another Lamech, a different man with the same name, who swears he will be avenged 70 and 7-fold. Why the 7? And twice? The Bible never explains it, and most Christians have no comment. We also discussed a descendant of Cain called the instructor of every artificer in brass, and I pointed out that that's not an accident. Beings that are not human yet somehow they can mate with humans. Let's also not forget the bloodline chart at the beginning of the King James Bible. Cain's line on the left, Seth's line on the right. I said we would come back to that chart, and now we can use it for dissecting the story we all know, Cain and Abel. Now before we dive into that, I do want to respond to a few rebuttals. I do want you guys to know I read all the comments. This is a very sensitive topic, and I do take everything into consideration. However, I do not wish to argue with Christians in the comments. If you have a rebuttal, please make a comment. I won't share your comment, so you don't have to feel like I'm calling any one person out. It's simply...
Okay, Jen, we'll be live for a few hours. We will be live for a few hours. If you're new here, just got here, say what's up. There's 11 people on Facebook. I would like to just know who's here. Say hello. How's it going? If nobody's told you today, I just want you to know that I love you and I'm proud of you just for even being you, bro. Thank you for being you. I appreciate you. We got 8 people. We got 8 people up over here on YouTube. Who was up? We got, I think Aphrodite on Twitch. Queen Trips up over on Twitch. What's up, guys? How are you guys doing today, bro? This shit is kind of crazy, bro. We're getting into the story of Cain and Abel, bro. It's gonna be insane, bro. Especially if you put Cain and Abel together and you say you look at the word, it says cannibal. Cannibal. Kind of weird. I'm just saying it, bro. It's kind of fucking weird, bro. It's kind of weird, bro. It's kind of weird, bro.
So everything can be put on the table and we can all look at it. That's how we investigate the Bible without bias. And I want to show you that I'm listening.
Real quick, 1 second.
So in part 1, I pointed out that God told Adam, "But of the tree of knowledge of good and evil, thou shalt not eat of it. For in the day that thou eatest thereof, thou shalt surely die." Genesis 2:17. Then the serpent told Eve, "Ye shall not surely die." Adam ate, and Adam lived. So I asked a simple question. Who lied? Well, many had a response to this, and most of the comments went like this. God.
Oh, yes, and just real quick to tell Melissa. Yes, Melissa, at the end of this stream, we are going to do a breath work, just so you know. At the very end of the stream, we will do a breathing exercise, meditation, because some of this stuff gets super heavy, bro. I haven't watched the whole thing, and I can only imagine what the ending is like from the I'm literally in the top middle of talking. No. You don't feel too good? Sorry, guys. I just had to hang. Cletus was down here talking to me, chatting with me.
I did not lie, because Adam did die. Peter says it himself. 1 day is with the Lord as 1,000 years, and 1,000 years is 1 day. Psalm 90 says the same thing. So when God said, "In the day you eat, you shall die," he meant his day.
I will give Queen Trip a hug. Thank y'all for being here. Like I said, Facebook. There should be a link pinned to the top of the chat. It's to YouTube. I think if you go to YouTube, you'll have a much better viewing experience. Cheers, mate. Top of the morning to you, partner. Hey. Nothing like a little hot cup of buff coffee. A little hot cup of coffee. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing, I hate to say it, but the only thing in the morning that's better than coffee and cannabis is just waking up and getting to see my beautiful wife. That's it. That's the only thing that's better in the morning than coffee and cannabis. But let's get right back into this.
1,000 years. And Adam lived 930 years. He died inside God's day. And that is interesting, because notice that not one patriarch in the entire Bible ever reaches 1,000. Methuselah is the oldest man in the book, and he dies at 969. So the math does hold there. Another response to this was Adam died a spiritual death that day. Death entered, and the connection was broken, and the dying began. And look, I want to be fair to this argument. It is a real argument. It uses scripture to defend scripture. And when you first hear it, it feels like it closes the case. Now that was your comment. I read it. Now let me give you my response. In a sense,
okay, we have to also just take into consideration. If you're new to my stream or you don't know who is Mind Unveiled, shout out Mind Unveiled. Let me just pull up his little channel so you can see it right here. Mind Unveiled in the bottom corner. This video dropped 15 hours ago. We're just going to put Tripoverdrip. Streaming it now. Love you, bro. I'm going to type in a little thing right here. Boom. This is my personal YouTube. You guys should just go over to freaking Mind Unveiled's channel. Just comment on this video. That'd be sick. Just say, we're watching it with Tripoverdrip. That'd be awesome if you guys just went to Mind Unveiled's The Lord is a Cannibal video and just put, we're watching it with Tripoverdrip. That you're the best, Mind Unveiled. But you have to think about this, bro, okay? If you don't know who he is or watched any of his videos, even part 1 or the Homunculus or Tartaria or the Cabbage Patch Kids or any of the cryptid stuff or talking about Epstein, like Mind Unveiled goes into all sorts of topics, bro. He has tons and tons of long form videos. So much information, bro. But when he starts to specifically get into the spiritual text type videos, right? Can you just imagine the type of... No, it's Mind Unveiled. Unveiled. Mind Unveiled. But can you just imagine the type of hatred he gets just for even having these conversations, bro? Like, you just gotta, regardless of whether you like are fully absorbed into what he is teaching and are on board for what he is teaching, you have to actually... Yeah, The Lord is a Cannibal is the title. Yeah. It's going to be... This is insane, bro. I watched like the first hour of it, bro. We haven't even... He's just recapping and talking. He's recapping the last video and talking about some of the comments of people arguing with him about certain topics inside of the video. He hasn't even got into the next part. He's just recapping. So I just have to say, Mind Unveiled, live on stream. We all appreciate you, bro, because somebody has to have these conversations. Someone does. I'm here to have conversations like this. And to be honest, I'm learning about this information from you. So I just have to, tip my hat off to you, bro. It takes a brave person to want to put themselves out here. So I can completely understand why you have like the sun over your face when you have in other videos when you talked, because this type of information that's getting out is earth shattering. It is narrative shattering, bro. Lots and lots of people are being awakened to this information, which you're taking on big religion, and that's scary. So I just want to say, bro, you have true strength and I appreciate that, bro. It really takes a true G, for real, like a gangsta ass motherfucker, bro, to want to take on the Christian religion, bro. Like, are you like serious? He's gonna, like you said, Christy. Yep. He said he's gonna use scripture, defending scripture. So everything he's gonna be talking about is literally going to be pulled straight from the Bible. There's no outside text unless it's other applicable text of the same statute, like with the cryptid, apocryphas of John and the Book of Enoch and all these other non-canonized texts. or they're not in the canonical Bible. You know what I'm saying? So like everything that is applicable, right? So he will pull from other books, but the books are the people are you're just gonna have to watch. But like he hasn't even gotten into it yet, so I'm just telling you, just keep listening, keep listening. Koi fish says canon. Yeah, that's what I meant. Koi fish says that Mind Unveiled is like Jimmy Neutron. Just a fucking just genius. When he pulls these videos, bro, I imagine like, does this dude speak a whole bunch of languages too, bro? Because he'd be talking about Latin and freaking Greek and freaking Hebrew and shit. He speaks English, obviously, in the video. He has a Spanish background as well. So like he like probably knows Spanish, knows English, Hebrew, Latin, Greek. Like what the shit, bro? I agree too, Apple Juice. We'll get right back into the video after I just read your message. I'm here to say that I 100% support flock cameras as long as they're inside every single government official's office. Let's get right back into this.
Sure, I can grant that Adam did eventually die. But the argument depends on one hidden premise: that eating the fruit is what made Adam mortal. That death entered through the fruit. That is basically the whole argument. So let us just read the text and check. First, let us clearly establish why they were actually thrown out of the garden. Genesis 3:22. And the Lord God said, "Behold, the man is become as one of us, to know good and evil. And now, lest he put forth his hand and take also of the tree of life, and eat and live forever." That is the reason, in God's own words.
What can I ask him? What, Scotty? Can I ask Mind Unveiled what? Oh yeah. If he knows Ammon Hiltman, I can ask him, yes. Ammon Hillman, I will ask. I told him that we were live. I will tell you this. Last time we were live, he was in here for a little bit watching. I don't know. He might be in here right now. It's possible. But yeah, if you're here, Mind Unveiled, we love you, player. If he is on any platform, I would be willing to bet that he is on YouTube. But yeah, let's get right back in here. But let's talk about this actually, where he says this. And the Lord God said, "Behold, the man is become as one of us." So he became a god, or was he human? And then it said, lest, this is the word that he says that I'm still kind of trying to grasp the full concept of. Lest he put forth his hand. Is it unless? So unless he takes the tree of life and eat it, he'll live forever. Right? Is everybody gathering what I'm picking up what I'm gathering? Just kidding. Let's go.
And take also of the tree of life, and eat and live forever. That is the reason, in God's own words. He is not punishing, he is preventing, lest he eat and live forever. Now think about what that sentence requires. You do not guard the tree of life from an immortal being. There's no reason to. The only reason to block the tree is if the man could still become immortal, which means he was not immortal yet. Adam was never immortal in that garden. Mortality was not the punishment, it was the starting condition. And keep in mind, the tree of life was never forbidden. Genesis 2:16, "Of every tree of the garden thou mayest freely eat, every tree except one, and the tree of life was not that one."
Isn't that insane to think about, right? Why was it that the tree of not? Oh my gosh, Mind Unveiled is in the house, bro. He's on YouTube, bro. What's up? Mind Unveiled is in the house, bro. You guys see the chat? Dang. I got to bring this closer, dude, so I can see it. Heck yeah, bro. Heck yeah, bro. We love you, bro. Let's go. Yeah, he is here. He's on YouTube. Yep. Mind Veld's in the house. But isn't that an interesting topic, point that he had just made, bro? Is that the tree of life was the one that would make Adam immortal. And in the Bible, the only tree that was said that they couldn't eat was the tree of knowledge. That's the tree that was forbidden. So the knowledge was forbidden, but not immortality. So it was okay to live forever, but not to know the truth or have knowledge of things. Let's get right back up in here, though. Appreciate you being here, Mind Unveiled.
Every tree except one, and the tree of life was not that one. So it stood there, free, the entire time? He just never ate from it? Was something required first before you could eat of the tree of life? So follow it through. The fruit did exactly what the serpent said it would do. Your eyes shall be opened, and ye shall be as gods, knowing good and evil. And God confirms this. In the same verse, the man has become as one of us, to know good and evil. The knowledge came from the fruit.
What, dude? You can't even say that, bro. I appreciate you. Like, for real. Like, dead ass. Everybody who's here, bro, can we just have the whole chat just spam with aliens, bro, to let Mind Unveiled how much we watch his stuff on this channel, bro? Dead ass, bro. We appreciate you so much, bro. You have opened our eyes to, like, it goes so deep, bro. The layers go so deep, and I just appreciate the work that you do, player. I appreciate you, bro.
Death came from losing the tree. Two different trees with two different outcomes. Which means he eventually died does not save the threat. Because to keep God honest here, you have...
Thanks for showing the love. What's up?
Can I leave the dishes to dry until...
No. Sorry, I gotta talk to my son again real quick. Heck yeah, heck yeah, heck yeah. Here we are. Shout out Mind Unveiled. Everybody go follow his chat. Follow his channel. I did comment right there. We're up in there, dude. We're in the comment section.
Have to redefine the word day or redefine the word die. And either way, you have to ignore an entire tree. But to be honest with you, you can pick whatever interpretation you want. I do mean that. You can do your homework and land where you land. But just don't walk past the whole tree to keep it. So here's the thing. You can have that point. It's not my main focus to convince you that God lied. It was just a simple question, not a core argument. We don't even need this point. Set it aside. Everything we're about to decode stands on its own.
Look at this right here. Look at this. Look at this. Right here, see? You see the moon and the sun? You see the moon and the sun? Where's the other moon for this sun? And then there's what right here? This is a basilisk. This imagery has a homunculus on here.
Or without it. So that's the first response. The other big response was not about the text at all. It's about me. This is Gnosticism. This is occultism repackaged. He's worshiping the serpent. And I know it seems I'm going on with the intro, but this is very important. If I do not lay this out properly, they will use this as a way to discredit the work entirely. It goes something like this. The second rebuttal is not really a rebuttal, but more jumping to conclusions and accusing me of promoting the serpent as a shining truth teller. the fall as an awakening, the hidden divine feminine. I do want to cover their points because they do bring up solid arguments. It's just operating from an entirely different framework.
Okay, so my question is though, when it gets to Gnosticism, right? They believe in like the demiurge and the archons. Is Sophia is from Gnosticism? Like that's where the name comes from, because like he will explain in just a second, Gnosticism is actually a very structured religion. They have specific gods that they worship, specific rules. It is a religion. It's not like a belief system as if like you believe in frequencies and vibration and stuff, and you don't necessarily buy the mainstream narrative of what these other Abrahamic religions or even non-Abrahamic or even pagan religions, I guess you could say pagan. But it's kind of interesting, right? Because he's going to explain it better. Let him get into it.
The main gist of it is that none of this is a new discovery. It's all just an Ophite reading of Genesis, an old heresy.
See, this is something I watched this part last night, because I kind of wanted to get a little bit of heads up before I came down here, especially because I didn't stream it yesterday. It wasn't in divine timing. The water didn't flow where it was supposed to go. And so instead of streaming it yesterday, I just like caught up on it and tried to watch as much of it as I could. This is Ophite, an Ophite reading. I had to find out what this is. Okay, so if we're talking into the context of an old heresy, what is an Ophite reading?
An Ophite reading refers to the interpretation and beliefs of a Gnostic sect known as the Ophites or Ophians, who emerged around the 2nd century CE. The Ophites honored the serpent from the Genesis story, viewing it not as a deceiver but as a benefactor who brought knowledge to humanity. They developed a complex cosmology, including a belief in a divine hierarchy and a demiurge named Yaldabaoth, who created the material world. In their narrative, the serpent helps Adam and Eve gain knowledge as an act of liberation. Early Christian writers like Irenaeus and Hippolytus labeled these views as heretical, which is why the Ophite reading is associated with an old heresy.
Okay, so the Ophites were like a religious group or like a race, or like a peoples from a certain part of the earth.
They were a religious group rather than a race or a people. The Ophites were early Gnostic sects that developed specific beliefs, especially around the symbolism of the serpent in Genesis. They didn't represent a particular ethnicity or region. Instead, they were scattered across areas where Gnostic thought was present, particularly in parts of the early Mediterranean and Near East.
And this was prior to, I guess, Jesus or after?
The Ophite sect emerged after the time of Jesus, around the 2nd century CE. They developed their beliefs in the context of early Christian and Gnostic thought. So they were reacting to and interpreting the story of Jesus and the Hebrew Bible in their own way.
Okay, so Jesus is like a 75% of the way through of the story. So if the Ophites weren't created until after Jesus's time, I guess the question is weren't the cultures of that time already familiar with the story of Adam and Eve? So it just seems weird that this other sect that worships the snake from the Garden of Eden in our creation story just so happened to appear around after Jesus.
I see where you're coming from. The cultures of that time were indeed familiar with the story of Adam and Eve, but Gnostic movements like the Ophites emerged as alternative interpretations. They took existing...
Interesting. I was only asking because I had never heard of the Ophites before. So when he said this yesterday or last night when I was watching it, I didn't really fully comprehend exactly what he was saying here. So now it makes sense. This is a sect of people who basically worship the serpent, right? Just like Mind Unveiled was saying that they were accusing him of doing in the comments and stuff, is that he worships the serpent.
And Irenaeus refuted it all the way back around 180 AD. On top of that, they say I'm using Hebrew word studies from real scholars, but those same scholars concluded the serpent is a rebel under judgment, not an illuminator. So essentially, I'm presenting their evidence while leaving out their conclusion. That's the accusation. And to be fair, it comes from people who know their church history.
Okay, so what I'm gathering here, right, is the reason these people are upset with Mind Unveiled and the information and questions he's asking and the things he's providing for other people to ask and conversate about, is that he's using evidence that these other cultures or these other ideological beliefs use as well inside of their spiritual structure. But the evidence that he used is being used for a different narrative. Like, he's telling a different story than the people that use the story he told. And by the end of that story, his conclusion is not what the religion is. And that's where the attacking is coming from. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's what he meant. He's using the same evidence that they are, but he's saying that the story's way different. And so, of course, just like the reason I prefaced the beginning of the live stream, that we have to have an open mind when we're talking about this stuff. And just because the information is portrayed or displayed in a way that doesn't make sense to you and makes you question things inside of yourself doesn't mean that for one, it's not true, because growth doesn't happen when you're comfortable. You actually have to be in a situation, in a frequency, to a point of being uncomfortable for you to actually make real changes and real growth inside of your life. So the fact that some of this information might come up and you might start to feel uncomfortable with the information that's being displayed, that is a clear warning and signal to yourself, like, maybe pay attention to this. But because I pay attention, just because I pay attention to it does not mean that I believe it. But there's always multiple sides of the story. And how are you ever supposed to really know what's the truth unless you at least hear every side? If it doesn't apply, just let it fly. But I promise you, if you keep watching, there's going to be a whole bunch of stuff that changes a whole bunch of things that you thought were a specific way or said a specific way. And you'll be able to see very specifically how the story changes from what we were told as Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden, Cain and Abel, all the way down to Yeshua from Nazareth. You know what I'm saying? So, like, just have an open mind. Always have questions. Aspire to inspire before you expire. Melissa, let's go. Question everything, bro. One thing I actually really like about Mind Unveiled, not this video specifically, but if you go and look at all of his other videos, he gives all of his sources. He himself says, don't believe me. Do your own research. But this is the information I have found with my research. That's kind of how, like, this whole journey or aspiration to gain as much knowledge about all sorts of concepts really is, right? Is do your own research, but here's the information I have. But if you're not even willing to look at the information that multiple people are offering you, and you only are going to take the one that your mind, the beliefs you already have, the things that you think your perspective already is, if it doesn't fit inside of that, you won't even entertain it. You have to entertain things that you don't agree with. We're here to grow. We're here to evolve. We're here to expand our mind. If you always just repeat the same beliefs, the same loops, the same patterns, the same behaviors, there's no expanding in that. That's why it's called a loop, bro. There's no expanding in it. So I, myself, have found myself going down the craziest rabbit holes, and to be honest, never coming back the same. Thanks, Mind Unveiled. You've done most of that. Homunculus messed me up for like 45 days. It still messes me up. That's why we started going down Homunculus again this week, bro. It's because I've just been obsessing over it ever since then. There's some rabbit holes you never come down back from. But let's get back into this. And I guess I just have to say thank you guys for coming up on my live streams where we just go down the craziest rabbit holes, because it's a lot more comforting to do this with other people, because when you do it by yourself, you have nobody to talk to. At least I know that I could come jump up on my stream and talk about the craziest fucking shit I believe, and I have people that will talk to me about it. In my real life, bro, I'm like, hey, bro, what's up, dude? Yeah, what's up? My week's been good. I guess. How was your week while you went to work? Oh, okay. Do you know what a homunculus is? Boom, right there, I lose them right off the rip. They're like, what? Yeah, you ever heard of the Libra Vaccae? The book of the cow? where they talk about spontaneously generating bees and hornets using putrefied bull carcasses and semen and sulfur inside of the womb, hermetically sealed vessel with a stone so that the substance can permeate and create a artificially generated life. It doesn't work, bro. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't happen like that. But like, oh yeah, did you know that Jeffrey Epstein and Brock Pierce were highly involved in creating artificial intelligent toddler robots, and those toddler robots, their intellectual capacity could not succeed that of a toddler. So it's not like a toddler sized robot. It's like a toddler smart robot. What in the fuck? You know what I mean? There's just like too many rabbit holes, bro. There's just too many rabbit holes. Thank you, Mind Unveiled. Thank you for everybody being here, because I need you guys around, bro. There's not a lot of people I can have these conversations with. And if we're actually being quite technical, I am actually in a room by myself talking out loud to myself. Well, there's a camera here, but if we move past that, the camera's here. I am technically by myself, but I like to do it here with you guys. So thank you guys for being here.
On the surface, it really does seem like a solid argument. Now here's my response. First, Gnosis and Gnosticism are two different things. I said this clearly in part 1. Gnosis is a word. It means knowing, remembering. Gnosticism is a religion, a whole system. Yaldabaoth, the Archons, the escape from the Demiurge. One is a capacity of the soul. The other is a belief system with its own gods and its own doctrines. Second, and this is the part that doesn't get checked, the actual Gnostic texts do not say what this accusation thinks they say. Take the Apocryphon of John, one of the main Gnostic scriptures found at Nag Hammadi. In that book, Cain and Abel are not victims or heroes. They are listed as 2 of the 7 archons, the rulers set over the heavens. And the one who wakes humanity at the tree of knowledge, it's not the serpent, it's an eagle. The text says so directly. And it makes a point that this is a different being from the serpent. So the famous Gnostic serpent hero is not even in the Gnostic scripture. If I were secretly preaching Gnosticism, I'd be doing a terrible job, because the Gnostics themselves disagree with that reading I am being accused of.
Wait a second. You're telling me that the Gnostic, the people who believe in Gnosticism, who worship the serpent, in their own scripture, it doesn't even talk really about a serpent. The serpent is actually an eagle in that version of the story. That's weird, bro. How is that possible?
And third, reading is not worshiping. Pointing at Genesis 3:22, where God confirms the serpent's words, is not telling you to follow a serpent. It's asking you to follow the text. Description is not devotion. I simply asked who lied. That's a reading question, not a religion. So notice what happened. If someone is calling this Gnosticism, see if they're actually responding to the points in the video. The verse never got answered. They just attacked me. And I get it. Labels are faster. But anyone who keeps accusing instead of responding to the core points is not defending the Bible. They're dodging the material. The verses are right there.
It's all right. It's all right, C. Dean.
Answer them, and I will happily listen. That's how this works. So that's my second response. With that said, I'm very thankful for all the comments, even the ones that disagree. And there are a few more comments worth responding to, but they don't necessarily have to do with the garden or the current part in the series. So please continue to let me know your criticism, as I truly am trying to be unbiased. This is an investigation, not dogma. And with your help, we can finally decode the Bible for the world to see all her secrets.
That's a really weird picture, huh? That's a weird picture. Especially because, like, who is that? Is that supposed to be Eve? Or is that Sophia? Is that Lilith? How come Lilith all of a sudden became the fucking mother of vampires? Is that just a story or a narrative to distract everyone from the divine feminine? To make people think it's evil or something? But the question is if this is Eve, how in the fuck how do they have clothes like this? Who built this structure? You know what I mean? Like if this is Eve, who built this building behind her? Seems weird. Oh yeah, that is true. There's the two pillars of Solomon's temple right there. That's a good connection, my love. Queen Trip made that connection. Two pillars. Sakin and Boaz.
Now everyone knows the story of Cain and Abel. You have the two brothers, the two offerings, jealousy, the murder, and the mark. You can learn the Sunday school version in about 5 minutes. But remember what we learned. There's always two readings. An outside one and an inside one. And the inside of the story is something else entirely. The moment you slow down and actually read chapter 4, all sorts of questions start piling up. Like, for example, who told Abel to sacrifice? The Bible doesn't explain it at all. Why, after the garden, do they just out of nowhere start sacrificing animals for the Lord?
That right there is one of the craziest things that he has said in this series that just got my mind turning. Because if you read the text, if you read the Bible from the beginning, it already assumes you know certain things, topics. It just talks about certain things as if they're just like a matter of fact. Like he's gonna talk about the cherubim, you know what I'm saying? But the cherubim are just dropped in the first little bit of the book, and it's spoken as matter of fact, as if the reader's already supposed to just know what this is. Especially if this is supposed to be like the beginning of everything, right? This is like the creation story. How come these other aspects weren't necessarily described better? Or were they described better in different texts? But he does make a good point. As the story goes, all of a sudden these beings are created and conceived, right? And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, wham, they just start sacrificing things to God. Did Adam and Eve ever sacrifice things? It would make natural sense that, maybe the children would learn from the parents. But if they didn't learn it from Adam and Eve or the parents, then who else was there? Because those are supposedly the first 4 humans, right? Adam and Eve, Cain and Abel.
There is no command, no instructions, nothing. So why is he killing lambs? Surface
What's up, Sammy Sweetheart's in the house? Let's go.
level doesn't give you an explanation. Then we have to ask, why did God accept the meat and refuse the vegetables? Why is the meat a sweet scent to God? The text gives no reason. The typical explanation is because Abel put his heart into the sacrifice. Well, let's talk about that. After the murder, Cain is terrified, and he says, "Everyone that findeth me shall slay me." Everyone? Who? His family was supposedly the only family on Earth. And then he goes and finds a wife. Where did she come from? Why does the murderers line invent civilization? The first city in the Bible is built by Cain. The father of music comes from Cain's line. The instructor of every artificer in brass and iron, Cain's line. Why does everything come from the cursed side? Then very soon we'll cover the two Lamechs. One lives 777 years, the other swears 70 and sevenfold. And what about the women? They appear at the very end of the family line. They are named within a genealogy of men, but there is no story attached to them. So why even mention them?
That is weird, huh? That is weird. Almost everybody has like a little story, right? At least in this beginning part. But the girls of the lineage were all hidden. I mean, we all know that like there's a reason why supposedly God was portrayed as like this Zeus figure. Because like obviously they don't want women to enter the divine feminine energy that they all have. They want to make sure that men feel like they're superior, because if God is a man, then automatically men are superior, right? That's like the energy that it would create. We are the ones that, you know, like inner energy from people, you know? Does that make sense, or am I off based? I feel like specifically for all of time, we can just kind of see the fact that they have not wanted the divine feminine to take a grasp in the frequency of a lot of women on the planet. I'm just saying. To be honest, we're both men and women are under attack on this planet. They're trying to destroy the masculine energy. They have intoxicated the feminine energy with like greed and sexual proclivities and etc. You know what I'm saying? That's like the female energy that's like all over the internet and all what we're seeing everywhere, right? And obviously it's not everyone. I'm not saying that. Of course not. I mean, but there's a reason why I go into the grocery store and fucking Sexy Red is playing as the background music in my grocery store, bro. Get it sexy. Get it. You know what I mean? It's brainwashed, bro.
Then we have the book the Bible quotes by name, yet the book itself is missing. Well, we're going to read it. And what's with these beings that are not human taking human wives? Giants in the earth in those days? And apparently, the flood needed to remove something. What exactly needed washing away?
Okay, since we have that here, we'll take a quick segment real quick because I do have to go potty. Okay. But we will come back and keep watching this one. This one right here, boy. You know what I'm saying? This one right here, boy. I have to go to the bathroom. But what do you truly believe, bro? What is your true thoughts of what the flood was for? Do you think the flood was to get rid of all of the hybrid human animal homunculus that were on the planet? Do you really think that it was to get rid? Do you think it was to get rid of the giants? Or both? Do you think the whole planet flooded, or just the highly dense populated areas? Don Wayne, what's up? Thanks for coming over to Kick, bro. Thanks for coming to Kick, bro. But yeah, do you know what I'm saying? Okay, is the story of the flood not as insane as it is because that's where a psyop came to scare people from water? And maybe that little fear tactic, being scared of water because of the cataclysm of the flood that every human, every culture talks about, that the planet flooded. So we do have this innate programming to be scared of water, at least in that aspect, has made it so humans have never ever they've evolved technology to go into space as far as they possibly can, but haven't created technology to be able to go into the ocean only as of recently. And maybe that's where these aliens are all living, is they live in the ocean. That's why our satellites don't see them come from outer space and enter our atmosphere. They just appear in our atmosphere. It's because they're actually coming from the water. And that's the very first programming for us to not want to look in the water, is because of that. I don't know, dude. I appreciate you. Because I mean, there's just lots of information. You know what I mean? And there's lots of questions. I have lots of questions, bro. Okay, before I go to the bathroom, I'll answer this question because we were talking about divine masculine and divine feminine. And Christy on Facebook said, I'm curious what your opinion is on this question. What is toxic masculinity? Well, first and foremost, I think that toxic masculinity is when it starts to be destructive to the community. That's toxic masculinity. I think that for all of time, throughout all of our ancestral history, even when we were in indigenous tribes, the most masculine, what we would necessarily classify as toxic masculinity or misogyny now, was actually the alpha male then. I think times have evolved, and I think there are certain behaviors men exhibit that they shouldn't exhibit. I think toxic masculinity is when I think that you're less than me because you're a female and not equal to me. And if that toxic masculinity makes me feel like you're less than me and not equal to me, then I'm less likely to protect you if you were in need. I feel like that's super important. I feel like real divine masculine will protect any human who is in need of protection. Majority of them probably women and children, because an actual divine masculine would hope that there are other divine masculines around themselves that could protect themselves in a time of need. But the divine masculine, the energy is so pure that there really isn't ever even a need to defend yourself unless it's outlandish, because you know that when there's time to protect people, you could hurt people. So you avoid it at all costs. I avoid conflict at all costs because I know that things won't go well at the to end all of it. I think that there is a specific toxic masculinity of men who don't stand up and openly talk about how pedophilia is wrong. I'll just let that fester for a minute. Genocide is wrong. The reason that they are attacking men in masculinity is because men are going to be the ones that physically will be involved in the revolution. They want to make it so that they want to prevent a revolution at all costs. That's why truth tellers get neutralized like Charlie Kirk, is because we can't have the society or the global elites that are running everything. They want to prevent a revolution for as long as possible. They know that it's coming eventually, but they will do everything in their power to prevent it by neutralizing whatever single individual target they need to neutralize. You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense? You know what I'm saying? Like, there is a specific energy when a man is at the highest frequency and actually can get closer to being able to see with his third eye. He has these two eyes to look, because these eyes just collect data and actually give the data to the third eye, and the third eye interprets it, and then it kind of projects what you see, as well as like interprets the data and tells you what you see. You know, like your five senses actually just all gather data, and in real time your third eye is interpreting that data in every second of existence, basically. Two eyes to look, one eye to see. And once you get to a high frequency as a male or a high frequency as a female, you start to embody the divine feminine or the divine masculine, because you can't be full of hate, anger, want to be violent if you're a high frequency, bro. That just does, they're not coherent. That would cause static and immediately drop in your frequency, as if you were a high frequency being and then all of a sudden you started acting violent. You would not become a high frequency being, and that divinity would leave you. That's just my personal opinion. But I think the toxic masculinity is why we are in this position that we are in as a planet. They have brainwashed us to think as men that the only thing that matters is money. The only way to get women is to have money. That based off of how much money I have, the women I have, my assets will determine on whether I'm valuable or not, because we've, as men, been brainwashed to think that this virtual reality simulation, 3D fractal light matrix that we experience this third dimension in, they've tricked us to think that it's a popularity contest and it's a contest to see who can get the highest digit in a digital bank account. And so men will do really disgusting things if we think that that's the whole purpose of life, is to make it so we have the highest number in our account that we can get. And if we have a higher number in our account, there's this programming that happens where we feel like we're better than the people who have lower money in their account, and we strive to be like the people who have higher money in their account than us. It's all based off of money. It's all based off of survival. We've all realized that this whole entire system has been set up to keep all of us in fight or flight, anxious, depressed, worried for the future. When in all actuality, we're talking about the Bible. The Bible says, "Be not afraid," 365 times. We know that they use fear to control the masses. You can see a toxic masculine when they're scared of what people think of them. Because if you are truly scared of what people think of you, you're living in fear your whole existence. And you can tell who is in fear of what people think of them, the less authentic they are, the less weird they are, the more by the book they are. The more authentic a person is and just acts like their natural self every single time you're around them, those people don't really live in personal fear. Sure, everybody has fear about the outside world. Everybody has fear about, oh my gosh, if I lose my job. Everyone has fear of like, dang, I don't know if I'm going to be able to pay the bills this week. Everybody has those fears. But imagine having those fears on top of the fear of your own self. Imagine how much control they could take over, how much more they could influence your decisions and where you spend your money on what you think is important. Dang, dude. I don't know. I think I just dropped some bombs about that divine masculine. Can we get aliens in the chat if you can agree, bro? I don't know where that came from. All of a sudden, she asked the question, and next thing is like, ears start ringing. Boom, and back all of a sudden. Crazy. Okay, I got to go to the bathroom. Got to run upstairs and go to the potty. Okay. Go to the potty. But we're going to listen to this. This shit will blow your mind. I'll see you guys in like 3 or 4 minutes.
This is the Mandelbrot set. The father of fractals, the Mandel dad. Every single time you zoom in on this fractal, it zooms into a Julia set, which is another fractal. The Julia set is in a constant state of integration and disintegration, and it's also a vortex when you plot it in 3D. The Mandelbrot is in the shape of a cardioid. It's a very important shape in mathematics, and it's seen in architecture and in technology like microphones, as well as the optics of spheres. It's called collimation. Antennas use this to transmit signals. Cardioid focuses the signal into a point, makes it more efficient to transmit to another antenna. But when you freeze that, it looks suspiciously like the Egyptian lotus. There are no coincidences. The branches of the Mandelbrot fractal are Sierpinski fractals. The cheat code to lightning. When you rotate the Mandelbrot set and connect it to itself, it creates the Koch snowflake, which is another fractal. If you map the X and the Y coordinates to the left and the right speaker, then the Mandelbrot set plays harmonic tones. Now that is cool, but what's even cooler is if you zoom into the fractal, it adds harmonics, which means as the fractal gets more complex, the sound gets more complex, but stays harmonic at the same time. Let's make it 3D. If you make it 3D, it looks like trees or broccoli or a whole bunch of nature. If you just let it run and do its thing, it'll create shapes that you've probably seen before because they're very structurally sound. In 1 minute, one fractal has linked the physics of sound and light and optics and mathematics and engineering and architecture. How does it do this while connecting to nature? That's because all things are just one thing. You just learned them separately. This whole video is a chapter out of my new book, Geometrix. We dive deep into fractals because they tell us a lot about the world and history and engineering and all kinds of stuff. This book is a part of my series on holistic, esoteric education. Instead of compartmentalizing education into one subject for one thing, this teaches it in a holistic way that makes it relate to everything else. The biggest breakthroughs in science, tech are not going to be AI. They're going to be from water. You see what's happening to that slow-mo? You see the light behind that water droplet? Water reveals the patterns of light and frequency. A frequency through water can show you all the details of that frequency. That's a cymatic pattern. For example, this shape creates the vector equilibrium, one of the most stable shapes in the universe. Bees love the thing. Everything in nature uses vibration in some way. That's just a bowl of water in the woods reflecting the sounds of nature. That's just a bucket of water reflecting the sounds of construction. The problem is, most of us learn the behavior of waves in 2D when it's actually a 3D phenomenon. Sound looks more like that traveling through the air. The cymatic is a frozen cross-section of that bubble through time. What's even crazier is we can calculate the pattern that the sound is going to make. The biggest sine wave up there is the fundamental. All of the smaller waves are harmonics that add to the tone of that fundamental sound. If you combine all of them, you get the sound your ears perceive. In this case, all of those are harmonics, which means they sound good with the fundamental, so it creates a square wave. Now imagine that circle as a dish of water on a speaker. The pattern it's drawing happens in a fraction of a second to produce the cymatic image that we see. All of it is geometry and math. Using a cymoscope, we can find the resonance of anything. This technology was pioneered by John Stuart Reid. Anthony Holland is taking this technology even further by trying to shatter cancer cells using just sound. Cymatics has the potential to link all disciplines. This is the E8 lattice. It's a mathematical theory attempting to explain everything. That is an ancient Hindu temple. This is where we were, and it's where we're going. And it's all based on shapes and sound, something you learn as a child. Somebody...
Dang, Base Forge, friend of the show. What's up, dude? We're back. I went and took the potty. We will be right in here now. Let's go. Dang, we got 10 people up on YouTube. What's up, YouTube? We got 7 people up on Facebook. Let's go, Facebook. We got I don't know how many are on each Kick and Twitch. If you're on Kick, say hey so I can see how many of y'all are up in here. But what's good? Let's keep going, dude. Let's keep going. I love y'all, Team Human.
There is a word hiding inside the names of these two brothers. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. It involves a single question, and it might be the most sensitive and touchy question of them all. Many of you may think that it sounds insane right now, but the text itself is going to force it. The question is, who is the cannibal? Now,
Who is the cannibal? What the shit? Who is Cain and Abel? Or, I mean, cannibal is what he said. Is God the cannibal? Is Adam and Eve cannibals, bro? What the fuck, dude?
simmer on that for a moment, because there's one last detail from the garden that we should highlight before moving on. On the way out, the Lord God made them coats of skins. Skins? What are these skins? Clothing? Well, skins do come off an animal, which would mean something died in that garden before any human did. So then you could argue the first blood is by God's own hand. How else would you give them clothing made of skins? Unless there's a deeper secret here. So just keep that in mind, because chapter 4 starts with 2 brothers and an altar. 26 verses, but there's an entire world beneath it. We ended part 1 with man being driven out of the Garden of Eden. But let's go back to the end of chapter 3, as there are some strange things we need to discuss.
I just have to point out, if you know, you know. She got a homunculus face, bro. She got homunculus face for sure, bro. Seems weird. If you haven't watched any of that stuff with me, then you might not understand it, but
let's start with chapter 3, verse 13 and 14. The Lord God is talking to Eve, the woman, and says, "What have you done?" The woman says, "The serpent beguiled me, and I did eat." So the serpent beguiled her. But what does beguiled actually mean? The Hebrew word here is hishiani, from the root nesha, and it's more than just a simple trick. It means to lead someone astray, to carry them off course. Now watch what happens to this word as it moves through the translations. The Greek Old Testament renders it apatao, to deceive. But in Greek, the word implies allurement, the same word family the New Testament uses for the deceitfulness of riches. A pull. And then there's the Latin. When Paul retells this exact moment, the Latin Bible reads, Serpiens evam seduxit astutia sua. Seduced. And I didn't translate it that way. The Vulgate did. The official Bible of the Western Church for over 1,000 years. Paul himself frames it in that direction, because right before he mentions Eve, he's talking about presenting the church as a chaste virgin to Christ. He puts the serpent and virginity in the same breath. The rabbis, as we covered in part 1, read it the same way. So the English says beguiled, the Latin says seduced. Let's just take note of that. Then the Lord God turns to the serpent. Because thou hast done this, thou art cursed above all cattle, and above every beast of the field. The Hebrew word is arur, cursed. Now, here's where you have to slow down and count, because something strange is going on with this curse. Ask yourself, who actually gets cursed in Eden? The serpent gets the word, that is verse 14. Now read the woman's sentence in verse 16. I will greatly multiply thy sorrow and thy conception. In sorrow thou shalt bring forth children. And thy desire shall be to thy husband, and he shall rule over thee. So now she will experience pain. But read it again. The word cursed is not there. Eve is sentenced, but Eve is never cursed. Then Adam, verse 17, and here it gets stranger. Cursed is the ground for thy sake. Adam isn't cursed either. The ground is. The Hebrew is arua ha-adamah. And adamah, the ground, the soil, is feminine. The earth Adam was pulled out of, the mother material itself, takes the curse in his place. So, the curse lands exactly twice in Eden, once on the serpent and once on the feminine ground. The man and woman never received the word at all. So whatever you were taught about the curse of Eve, the text in front of you says the curse skipped the humans and the Mother Earth took it instead.
what do you guys think of that, bro? That seems insane to really think about, right? Who is who acknowledged that the cursing from God because of them eating the fruit. He never ever even cursed Adam and Eve. He actually cursed the serpent and the ground. Seems like a completely different narrative than what I at least grew up on reading the Bible in Utah, fed to me by Mormons who believe in the Freemason Joseph Smith. You know what I mean?
Why? In between that sits verse 15, the enmity between thy seed and her seed, the two seeds we covered in part 1. The war of the two lines is declared right here, in the middle of the sentencing.
Chad Roberts, I'm watching a 2-hour video from a content creator that I watch all of his stuff called Mind Unveiled. This is the Bible Unveiled Part 2. This is him talking about some pretty insane, crazy stuff regarding the story of Cain and Abel. Specifically, that's where we're at in this video. I'm glad you're here. Thanks for coming. Thanks for coming and hanging out, Chad. Appreciate you, bro.
One more thing from verse 16 before we move on. Thy desire shall be to thy husband.
No, that's the thing. You're just going to have to pay attention. Gnosticism, none of that stuff. Just listen. This is going to be a different perspective of this story than you probably have ever even imagined possible, actually. So let's just get into it.
And he shall rule over thee. Remember those exact words. Desire and rule. Because God's going to say it one more time, very soon. Now watch what Adam does right after all these sentences come down. Verse 20. And Adam called his wife's name Eve, because she was the mother of all living. Okay, so the woman did not have a name before this. Sit with that for a second. She was just sentenced to sorrow into being ruled, and the next act in the text is the man naming the mother. Shavah, life, the mother of all living, named by the man who was just told he would rule over her. Then comes verse 21. And this one the Bible never explains. Unto Adam also, and to his wife, did the Lord God make coats of skins, and clothed them. Coats of skins. Okay, so let's stop. Where did the skins come from? Skins come off an animal, which means an animal died. And who was there to kill it, except the one making the coats? So the first death in the Bible is not a human death. Now, if we take this literally, we must conclude that before Adam, before Abel, something was slain in that garden, and it was by the Lord God's own hand. A skin was wrapped around the humans. No name for the animal, no reason given why the fig leaves were not enough. The first blood in the Bible belongs to God. Verse 22 we already handled. Behold, the man has become as one of us, the tree of life. That word, lest, they were never immortal, and the door needed a guard. Verse 24. So he drove out the man, and he placed at the east of the Garden of Eden cherubims, and a flaming sword which turned every way, to keep the way of the tree of life. Okay, so who are these cherubim? Notice the Bible introduces them with nothing. No description of what they are, no explanation of where they came from. The text drops them like you should already know. And it's going to keep doing that with these types of beings, all the way through the book.
That's kind of a crazy perspective that Melissa just asked is, so Eve is actually the earth. Interesting. Veronica's saying, what happened to Lilith? Well, we haven't even got them yet. We haven't even got there yet. We're still just getting into the story. He did touch on Lilith the last stream I did about his first part, that she was the first woman created. It was actually an androgynous being who created he, them, actually. But let's just keep going let's just keep going into this. If you're here, I'm so proud. I'm glad that you guys came to hang out. It makes me feel so loved, so special. You guys are the ones that keep the lights on. Thank you so much. If y'all could just spam the chat with Team Human, whatever platform you're on, I would really appreciate it. Just helps the algorithm if you guys continuously engage in the chats. You know what I mean? I appreciate you. Queen Trip is up in the house. What's up, my beautiful wife? You know what I'm saying? Every time, I'll be honest right now. The goal, bro, the mission, the entire purpose, bro, is because I want to have the biggest flex that there is, bro. I want to be able to retire my wife so she doesn't have to go work in the Matrix every day. So every time you come here, you like a video, you comment, you share the video, regardless of it's on a live stream or just on my social media platforms, you single-handedly with every interaction are helping me retire my wife. So I think I'm just, like I said, I'm truly grateful. I appreciate it.
And what is a cherub anyways? Forget the baby angels on the Valentine cards. That image comes from Renaissance painters. In the Bible, cherubim are guard beings. The Hebrew word is keruv, and scholars match it to the caribou of Babylon and Assyria, the winged guardians carved at the gates of their temples and palaces. Part man, part beast, placed at the doorway so nothing unworthy could pass. So a hybrid of some kind. The prophet Ezekiel actually sees them up close, and what he describes is nothing like a baby. 4 faces on one being: a man, a lion, an ox, and an eagle, with wings and wheels within wheels.
I wanted to make this point earlier when he was saying that the Gnostic texts actually don't even talk about a serpent. They talk about an eagle. Is that the fucking eagle of the fucking eagle, angel, lion, and ox quad fathers? You know what I mean? Does that make sense? When he said that earlier, when they said that it was actually an eagle in the text, not a serpent, I immediately made that connection. Is that the serpent that's portrayed in all of the four combo of the lion, ox, eagle, and angel? What do you think?
There's actually a word for this. The tetramorph. 4 forms in one being.
The tetramorph. I never heard that word said before until I heard him say it when I watched this last night. I just didn't remember it in real time. The tetramorph?
They are the same 4 creatures we found on the 1611 cover in part 1. The 4 evangelists: Matthew the man, Mark the lion, Luke the ox, and John the eagle. So the 4 beasts guarding the Gospels are the 4 faces of the cherub. 4 in 1. There's something much deeper going on with this 4 in 1 pattern, but we're not ready to open that just yet. So just take note of the 4, and remember from part 1 where these beings show up next. The Ark of the Covenant. 2 golden cherubim sit on top of the mercy seat, and God says, "There I will meet thee," from between the 2 cherubims. The beings guarding Eden's gate end up guarding the box at the center of the temple. So what's the connection? Okay, but now ask the logical question. 2 verses ago, God said that man has become as one of us.
This was actually the exact point. Maybe you guys can acknowledge this. Maybe this is just me a little bit of tooting my ginger horn. Toot toot. Pillars everywhere. You're right. Never ending pillars. But just notice that a lot of these humans in this artwork are depicted as gingers. I'm just saying.
Then the cherubim get posted. Are the cherubim part of the us? The beings who already know good and evil? The Bible does not say, but God...
Wait a second. Is that Jesus? Or a godlike being right there? With red hair? What the fuck?
trust them with the tree of life. So whatever the us is, these beings work for it. And Ezekiel has one more thing to say about a cherub.
I have to answer this question. We got to take a quick break. I knew this was going to happen, chiming in on some Christian beliefs, bro. I knew that this was going to be a thing. Especially just like Mind Unveiled knows it's going to be a thing. The question from Christina Anderson, is this a Gnostic live, or are we believers that Jesus is God? That's such a layered question. Okay. Let me just think how I'm going to answer this for you. I guess the first thing I can say, yeah, I agree with you, TBA. Kind of, right? So first thing is I don't affiliate with any spiritual belief that has a label. If I'm being 100% honest with you, I kind of have my own spiritual path and my own connection to what I perceive God to be, which to me, God is everything, all things that ever is and ever was. If you know anything about quantum physics at atomic level, all of our particles are connected. I do think that because of different peoples and different cultures across different periods of time, that if there was a being that incarnated in this 3D fractal light matrix that we experience human experience in, that God would be all-knowing, omnipresent, and know all things, and know that the only way that he could reach the masses would be to incarnate in different avatars, saying different things, but all coming back to the same message. I think Yeshua from Nazareth is one of those avatars. I think Krishna could be one of those avatars. I think Buddha could be one of those avatars. If we want to go real deep in the layers, pantheism, I'm not quite sure what pantheism is, but I know what pantheism, I'm like an omniist. I just believe in my own spiritual path, and I just take truth and gold, spiritual gold, from any sort of concepts or ideas that resonate at a coherent frequency with my electromagnetic field that's being emitted from my heart. So if the frequency is resonant to me, then I energetically can feel that it's the truth without having a full capacity to explain what the truth is. And I have found that Jesus is the most covered up conspiratorial figure of all time, and has been for thousands of years. I think Yeshua from Nazarene was here to awaken us, as like TBA said, like he was the first Jedi master that came to planet Earth to try and teach all of us young Padawans how to use the Force. But Darth Vader has done a really good job at taking control of everything and making sure that the narrative that you get about the first Jedi Master is not the complete truth, so that you can never become a Jedi. I think that Krishna and Buddha, Thor and Odin, Verachucha, all of these different gods, Quetzalcoatl, Thoth the Atlantean, I think potentially they were all Jedis, bro. And at one period of time, this planet was full of Jedis. Yeah, that's what I believe. So I don't necessarily resonate with any specific religion. I do have religious trauma from the Mormon church because I grew up in Utah my whole entire life and was force-fed a Mormon spoon. And that was like, besides me finding out that Santa Claus was fake, that was like my first awakening. The first time I realized that the entire Matrix lied to me. Like the entire Matrix, not just my parents, not just my brothers, not just my grandpa and grandma. The Christmas lights were everywhere. The Christmas music is everywhere. Presents and talks about presents and festivities for Christmas and Santa and all of this stuff was, the whole culture embodied this, which inevitably actually just allowed me to see in real time how the Matrix works. As soon as I acknowledged that Santa was fake, it really set into stone that the Matrix lied. And then there was the fact that I came to realize that not everybody believed in Jesus. And then slowly started to realize that the church that I grew up in, doesn't even really promote Jesus that much. They talk more about Joseph Smith than anything, which would make sense if they're a Freemasonic sect of religion. That's maybe potentially why they were removed from the categorization of Christian, you know? So I'm just being 100 where, you know what I mean? I don't know what to believe. I believe what I believe, and I talk openly a lot on my channel specifically every day, all day. That's pretty much all I do. Is I'm a dad of 4, I'm a husband, and I just create content nonstop all day, every day about how I feel and how I think and what I believe. And I don't believe any of it. I have an open mind to question everything. And I actually just don't take people's words for truth. Like I was talking earlier, at a quantum level, particles that are coherent will vibrate together when they're in the same, I guess you could say, field as each other. And once they vibrated the same, there's something called superposition, meaning that those particles are entangled forever, and no matter how far the distance, if one particle is affected, the other particle is affected instantaneously. So as I go through this thing called life, that we're spirits have been here for all of the time, and we have chosen specifically to incarnate on planet Earth at this specific time. Some people are incarnating for their first time. Some people are incarnating for their 10th time. Some people didn't need to incarnate and have chosen to come here and awaken the planet because we're on the trajectory for destruction of all of us divine humans on this planet. We've been lied to. We've been poisoned. We've been manipulated. We've been extorted with our taxes. We have been attacked and targeted psychologically for decades, for centuries. You know what I'm saying? And that, my friend, is what Team Human is about. I'm just a human who knows that I'm divine, and I just want everyone else to know what I know. I don't know everything. I am a student way before I enter the frequency of teacher. And as long as I know that I just continuously stay in the frequency of student, that the teaching comes naturally. The healing will come naturally. Because you can't actually be in the energy of student if you think you know everything. It's impossible. Like, really think about what I just said. Like, this is gas right here, bro. Like, really think about that. You can't be a teacher, bro, unless you're always in the energy of student. That is the true path to knowledge, is to always remain a student, always curious, always questioning, always changing the way that you used to see the things that you see, because the information that is available is always evolving. It's always brand new. It's always changing. The words won't mean anything. It will be a frequency that you feel, that you will just know what is true. We all have this. We coin them as phrases as like your gut feeling or your intuition. Oh, the hairs on my arm are standing up. Something's wrong. We've all been equipped with this sacred technology that tells us what's right, tells us what's true, tells us what's wrong, tells us what's unsafe. We don't have to rely on words. And as humans on planet Earth right now, we can all see that everyone that is in charge lies straight to our face over and over and over and over and over and over and over. It's an energy. And so I hope that as you guys hang out with me today, have hung out with me in the past, that is the energy I bring every single day to the stream, bro. I just want to know. I just want to know what's the truth. I know that there is some spiritual and godlike energy about this experience. There are experiences I've had that I could only contribute it to a godlike energy. Near death, overdoses and then I didn't die. Lots and lots of crazy situations. So I know deep into my soul that there is an energy that is loving and laughter and joy and beautiful and bright, attractive, magnetic, peaceful and calm, that no human word could even explain. Not even me. And so I'm ever on this path to find out the truth. Because the information that we've been given by the people that we're supposed to trust that the information is true have continued to lie to us for all of time. And it goes all the way back, way before Jesus. So I don't identify with any religion. The religion I identify with wouldn't even be called a religion. I'm just loyal to my species, bro. I'm a human and I care about humans. Like real humans, not the reptiles, not the fucking pedophiles, not the AI super robots that are about to come out. Like the actual humans, not the NPCs, not the sheeps. I want the sheeps and the NPCs to wake up and embrace their inner divinity. That's what I want. That's what I'm striving for more and more every day, is just to help people open and expand their minds so that they can find their own path to truth. And whatever their truth is their truth, because they incarnated here for a specific reason, and I don't know what their divine purpose was. I know what my divine purpose is. I do it every single day. I'm a sexual abuse victim. I have borderline personality disorder, and I'm slightly autistic, I think. I was given Ritalin at 5 or 6 or 7 years old for ADHD. I grew up in extreme poverty. I've been physically abused. I was strung out on narcotics, heroin, meth, cocaine for over 20 years. I've done 10 years incarcerated and committed tons of crimes that I never got caught for. I've had good pistols put in my face, in my mouth. I've been pistol whipped. I've been jumped. I've been kidnapped. There's a whole bunch of shit that I've experienced. And I know for a fact that the divine creator has picked me to make it through all of that and still come out on the other side with a smile on my face, positive energy about me, trying to get everybody just to love themselves and question everything. That's pretty much it, bro. I try to do that every day.
That there was a covering cherub who walked in Eden, in the garden of God, among stones of fire. But we'll get to that later in the series. For now, it's enough to say that they are the gate guards. So the gate closes behind Adam and Eve. It's guarded by these cherubim. And now, man is out in a world that the Bible has barely even described yet. We know from earlier, from Genesis 2, that the narrator brings up Ethiopia and Assyria. And this is before God took the man in verse 15 to put him in the garden to dress and keep it. So, what exists in the world when Adam and Eve are released into it? Well, the first thing mentioned in Genesis 4 is a birth. And Adam knew Eve his wife, and she conceived, and bare Cain, and said, I have gotten a man from the Lord. Then verse 2, and she again bare his brother Abel, and Abel was a keeper of sheep, but Cain was a tiller of the ground. Now let's stop right there, because there's a lot going on in just these two verses. In part 1, we pointed out how Eve says she has gotten a man from the Lord. And we'll get back to that phrase in a moment. But notice, she only says it for Cain. Abel's born in verse 2, and there's no announcement at all. Nothing from the mother. So, why does she announce one son and not the other?
Isn't that weird? I mean, because we do know that this Bible specifically was architected in a specific way to say specific words, to display a specific message or story for the masses to interpret. That's a weird thing. That why did Eve announce that she had bared Cain, but nothing was ever even said about Abel?
Is there a reason? And it's also important to note the jobs here, because Abel is given the sheep, but Cain is assigned to the ground. The word for ground is Adamah, the same feminine Adamah we just watched take the curse. Something to consider. But first, watch take the curse. Something to consider. But first,
My internet is glitching.
Just watch take the curse. Something to consider. But first,
Why does it keep glitching? What's up, dude? Is there, okay, my YouTube is glitching, bro. YouTube's glitching out. Just want to make sure. Can we get some green hearts in the chat if it's glitching on your end? Queen Trips in the house. What's up, baby girl? Green hearts in the chat if it's good on your end. Is it if it's glitching or if it's messing up? Please let me know, because for some reason the channel it's not wanting to run. I'm at 33. Where am I at? 3314. I might have to refresh the page, bro. I might have to refresh the page. 3314. My internet. My internet. My internet. What's going on, dude? Oh no, dude. Wait a second. It's pausing for me, dude. Let me just go where we were. My internet. Close it. Close it. Interesting. My internet is not working anymore. Okay, that loaded up. That loaded up. That loaded up. Fucking weird, bro. Where you at, Web? Nothing's loading. The crazy part is that my internet on my browser is messing up. But the stream is still running strong, dude. I'll be right back, bro. Yeah, the internet has to be working. Just a second. Just a sec. I'm going to stay right here, but I got to call my son. Yeah, I'm just sorry guys. I'm just trying to get the internet to work, bro. All of a sudden, my live stream is still going, bro. But my internet stopped working. Like my browser. They're after me, bro. They're trying to get me, dude. They're trying to mess with me and shut me down, bro. Just kidding, I don't know. Oh, there we go. We're getting some pages. All these pages are trying to load. I can close out of that one. I can close out of that one. I can close out of that one. 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 I'm curious if if I come over here to network and I go like this and I turn off the VPN, boom. I'm here. I'm here. Can you guys still hear me? Can you guys still hear me? I'm here. You can hear me? Can you hear me? Can you guys still hear me? Okay, you guys can still hear me. I turned the VPN off, which was weird. Oh, they're starting to load up, it looks like. Maybe, I don't know. Canva can go. Who killed the scientist? AI Colts. What? We still got AI Colts up over here. My internet's acting bougie, bro. What's happening, dude? What's going down? Let's just stop that one. We can stop that one. Oh, connect to the internet. I'm retrying, bro. I'm trying to connect to the internet. You guys are fucking me, bro. Dude. Why is it doing that? It's weird, huh? What the shit, bro? It's annoying, dude. I'm sorry, guys. Hello. Hello, who's still here? If you can hear me, I'm going to end the live and come back.